Hey everybody, and welcome to the Funhaus Podcast. I'm your host today, Jacob Fullerton, and I've assembled, get it? Assembled.
No.
A crack team of the biggest Marvel heads in the office.
We're doing crack today?
No, Ryan.
Okay,
We've got James Willems.
Hello, I am James, and I can use my mind to pull notes out of harps.
Ooh. We've got Ryan Haley.
It's Scarlet State Ryan today.
Cool. What's that I hear? It's Patrick Brown.
The man in the giant yellow tub.
My name is Patrick. It works.
There you go.
It's beautiful. Spoilers.
And I'm bald.
Yeah. But today we're talking about some movies, more specifically for the
one movie,
first chunk of this podcast.
We might talk about others.
I think we all watched some movies recently that I think we're going to want to talk about.
I watched like 9 movies this week.
How many of them were on your phone at 480p?
No, I don't watch. None of those have I watched on my phone. I still watch them on TV, but I got a whole nightmare to tell you about trying to pirate some movies this weekend.
Love to hear
You're
it.
the one that watched The Northman at home, the one movie that's out that you see it at the theater. What's wrong with you?
But I watched it at my home.
Yeah, but it's not as big as a theater. I know you have a cool theater, but
anyway,
there's bigger ones.
So we're going to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's a mouthful. And do we want to just like talk spoilers straight away?
I think we could dance around it for at least a little bit. Maybe give our overall opinions on the movie.
Yeah.
Without going into detail, just so people can say that they disagree with us.
Yeah.
Spoiler
And
alert.
then go into spoilers to better justify our.
Yeah. So I think first thing we can do is like kind of just give a brief general opinion of the movie, and maybe like our interest in the MCU as a whole. Like, is it a thing we're really?
That's gonna be fun. I like that.
Cool.
It's always a fun conversation.
Yeah. This is a fun conversation. I'll start off easy.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this movie.
Okay.
I didn't love it, but I had a good time watching it. Didn't think it was perfect. And as for the MCU, I'm not like a big Marvel fan or anything like that. Oh, I've watched all these movies. I haven't watched like Moon Knight yet or anything, but I've generally enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a experience.
Okay.
And of just, I'll watch them. And I'll enjoy them. But that's just me though.
You don't hold them in too high regard.
No. But I like watching these movies.
No Star Wars.
Yeah. It's no Star Wars, let me tell you. But currently I'll elaborate later, but I feel about Marvel very similar than I do feel about Star Wars right now. So
Okay.
Tired?
Yeah. Exhausted.
I guess I'll hop in next. I think this movie is horrifically flawed. In many ways, mostly and this sounds so pretentious. I understand it sounds pretentious, but the script is completely broken in my opinion. I also think that when you're dealing with all this stuff, when you have television shows that are part of the canon, when you have 100 movies that are all part of the canon, you have all these things, and it feels like I know what's happening in them and the characters better than they do in the movies themselves. It's a really weird thing to be sitting in the theater going like, why are they doing this? That being said, I thought that the glimpses, like the sequences that are in this movie are awesome. It's kind of how I felt about the first Doctor Strange. I didn't like the story at all. I didn't like Doctor Strange at all. But I was like, oh man, when like the world mirrors and breaks on itself, that stuff is really cool. Whoever thought of that and choreographed that and put it together is really cool. I thought this movie... Stan Lee, yeah. Excelsior, they're mirror buildings.
Good work, army of CG artists.
So, no, but I mean, even like the design, like there are things that we will talk about after the spoilers that happen, and I'm like, that's really cool. And it also is in line with the director's sensibilities, which oftentimes get completely muted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it was like a tornado inside me where something would happen. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then I would have to, the story to reach that point would be a miserable experience for me. So,
okay, right. I've been hearing you spitting some venom, and you, I remember you being really excited for this because
This was probably my most anticipated movie of the year.
because I didn't bring it up, but
solely because of Sam Raimi. He's like by far my favorite director. Like,
first MCU movie, I guess. Yeah.
His Spider-Man. I don't know if you call it whatever.
Doesn't count.
But yeah, I just love anything he makes. You know, he hasn't made anything since the Great and Powerful Oz or whatever.
Which, if it were me,
he
pretty
made
good
that?
stopping point.
Yeah,
he made that Oz.
Crazy?
Could James Franco
name
one?
another director that could have gone out on top, like Sam Raimi with Oz the Great.
Was
and
that
Powerful.
after Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah, that was
I
after.
think
Which Drag Me to Hell fucking rocked, and then he made...
Drag Me to Hell rules.
Yeah.
That goated it. Yeah.
So yeah, I was so psyched for this, and I really liked the first Doctor Strange. You know, like I kind of go back and forth in terms of how much I care about the MCU as a whole. But like leading up to the Avengers, the first one, I was like on board. Like, oh, this is awesome. I've never seen all these different movies come together in a cool way like that. And then of course they have to keep going and then just stretch diminishing
Forever.
returns, which is. Is bound to happen. So I give them a little more slack, the fact that, our exhaustion from this whole thing. But I was so excited because I love the first one. I loved how trippy it was and it just looked really cool. And then I really liked the story. So I was like, all right, sweet. This is like the one MCU property where I'm like, they're really going to make this one Doctor Strange trilogy like stand on its own and be cool. But yeah, I really did not like this movie. And the more time that goes on, I kind of hate it more and more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like during it, I'm like, because there's a lot of Sam Raimi stuff going on cinematically during the movie that I did like. Like, I thought all of his camera work stuff was cool. All the weird, goofy transitions were great. I mean, he's doing as much as I feel like he can in the inside of what he's given. But yeah, like you said, the script just sucked. Like, and it really did feel like one tiny cog in the middle of this giant thing and I haven't been keeping up. I didn't watch the fucking Scarlet WandaVision or anything. So I feel like I am missing a lot.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
That's the thing.
But
That's one of my major issues with this movie.
She has 2 fake kids. That's,
Right, but
I think all you really need to.
They make these passing references though, like, remember your kids. And I'm like, okay, I'm sure this was more powerful for the people who were set this up.
Yeah.
But I guess not even to you guys.
Well, I was going to say, that's one of my major issues with this movie is that they rely on the fact that things happen in WandaVision and then they completely disregard what is the entire theme of WandaVision.
Yeah.
In this movie. So like it's like they didn't talk to each other about what was important, like what something's actually about. They were like, "Oh, she like makes up kids in this one." And they're like, "That's all you got from that show?"
Well, it's because that book was very evil, you see.
Right.
The Necronomicon?
No, the Darkhold.
Yeah. Darkhold, that's what I kept calling it, the Necronomicon.
What does that mean?
Well, it puts a Darkhold on you.
But that's the
And if you
so
want to
they
check it
named
out from the
book?
library, but someone already has it, you have to put a Darkhold on your Darkhold.
Like a hold on your credit card kind of.
Kind of,
Thing,
yeah.
but it's dark. All right, whatever. And then last but not least, the fucking multiverse thing, which is like, multiverse is hot right now.
hot.
Right?
It's hot.
It's on the zeitgeist. Talk about just a complete missed opportunity to use the multiverse in any interesting way. We had that really cool sequence where they're going through Paint World and Cartoon World. I'm like, oh, sweet. I can't wait till they go back to Paint World. We never go back to Paint World.
No.
We're just back in Human World. There's no cool multiverse stuff really, except just the weird, seeing John Krasinski as fucking Fantastic Four.
Spoiler!
Sorry.
Alert.
Yeah. But,
my whole theater was-
Anyway.
We got like
What? Yes! Oh, that guy, I know him. Anyway, fuck that movie. You're good, Patrick.
holy shit.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I kind of enjoyed it.
All right.
That's good.
I really,
Moving
I
on.
mean, I guess because of my general fatigue with the rest, just the whole Marvel thing, I kind of can watch those now. Maybe this will happen with Star Wars. That'd be cool. Where I can just watch it now without having the baggage of if I care how I feel about anything else.
Yeah.
I can just watch a dumb superhero movie and just be like, oh, okay, 2 hours.
You can't.
I don't feel like I
Star Wars.
lost my time. No,
It'll hurt you deep down.
It's too much. It's too deep for me. Yeah, but I was kind of just like, yeah, that was okay. I mean, everything both of you said is correct.
Thank you.
Completely. But I kind of just watched it and was like,
Yeah.
that was a fun roller coaster to be on for 2 hours. And I liked the Sam Raimi-ness of it. I thought there was like, I wish they didn't have to imply all the violence. I wish they could have shown a woman get cut in half by a shield and then slide off the shield.
It was pretty violent.
I wish they could have actually shown that instead of just like showing a shadow or whatever the hell they did.
Blood dripping from a shield.
Yeah, like, and clearly he probably wanted to and pitched that, but like they were like, whoa,
Yeah.
no, you don't get to do this.
There's a couple things.
I agree, total nonsense. Overall, and my biggest sticking point is where'd they find that kid?
America Chavez.
Because he's bad. No, not even her.
Oh.
One of Scarlet Witch's kids.
Oh,
his whole role in the movie is to go.
Oh yeah.
And I watched WandaVision. It was the same thing. Where I was like, where did they find it? It's like a CG kid.
Maybe
I thought maybe he was CG for a minute.
never
The whole
know.
movie is just.
I mean, you bring a couple things that I've been thinking about with this movie. Is I was actually surprised how much Sam Raimi showed through. I guess like I shouldn't be that surprised because there have been these Marvel movies that have allowed their director's vision to really like shine through, which is weird because they didn't let that happen
Too
with
much,
Ant-Man.
though.
Because like you got like your Thor, like Taika Waititi and like James Gunn and stuff. And with this one, I was like sort of expecting maybe it's just being cynical. It's just like it'll have like a couple Sam Raimi fades in it, and that'll be the extent of it. But it really kind of had quite a few moments where I was like, this is very Sam Raimi.
Also because Sam Raimi stepped in. The other director backed
yeah.
out. It was supposed to be the dude who did
Scott Derrickson?
Yeah, it's supposed to be him. And I
Interesting.
don't think they started shooting anything, but he was heavily involved in the pre-production and like working to it. And then he backed away from the project for whatever reason. And then Sam Raimi stepped in. So like, I mean, even when that's the case, especially, you're not expecting to see any true like glimmer of his vision because it's not really coming from him at the heart of it. But I agree that like it was nice to see what happen.
And like I think that kind of enhanced my enjoyment of it. If any of that didn't shine through, I probably wouldn't have liked this very much. But it had like it's kind of even the way it started, it like felt like Spider-Man or something, where it's like he's jumping off a balcony and there's all these people, he's showing all these bystanders like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun. And to the other point you mentioned, like I was pretty surprised by the violence in this. And delighted as well.
It was some people. This is one of those situations where I can't tell how much of this is just people saying that people are doing this on Twitter and how much is real. Mm-hmm. Were people actually upset that it was too violent? That's not real, right?
I don't think.
I don't think.
see
Yeah,
that
what
anyway.
idiot would
You know
be upset
anything where
about
like
that?
where like
I saw-
Deadpool comes out and he gives someone the middle finger and they go, yeah,
I saw a bunch of people on Twitter saying that other people, not them, but other people were upset by the level of violence. So I couldn't actually tell, is this just people on Twitter making up something that didn't actually
probably
happen? Or did they see
conflating.
one person and then everyone was like, this is funny to make fun of? Let's
Someone's
dogpile.
grandma didn't like it. Now we're all talking about it on podcast.
When I was seeing the movie, it was during a very violent and exciting action sequence in the middle of the movie, and a character had just gotten his like head imploded, which was fucking awesome. And I was like, oh, wow, they just did that. And I heard a child in the front of the theater go, I want to go home.
Nice, good.
I went to the bathroom in the middle of the movie, and there were two kids who had just gotten out of another screening, and they were talking about, like, the one kid was like, that was way too scary. Like, they were pumped up. They were psyched off of this movie.
Yeah.
But they were all, like, the younger one was like, it was probably two brothers or something. The younger one was like, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
If when I watch this on Disney Plus, I'm definitely fast forwarding that part.
Nice. That's how
But he
movies
was
should be made
psyched.
for
He was
kids.
pumped up.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that sticks with you.
Yeah.
The things that affect you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make you have good taste in the future.
Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, there was quite a few crying children throughout my viewing of this movie. Yeah, people brought like really young kids, and there's the parts where I'm like, that'd probably be pretty scary for a child.
It is, but it's weird that like we think that these movies are like kid appropriate. Like a kid in the opening night of a movie like this or something is so weird to me because it's like, I mean, Endgame's pretty intense too. Like there's intensity, right? Like just the fact that now there's violence. I guess this one is the first maybe to truly integrate horror. And I'm putting big quotation marks around that, but like
Gore.
not even gore, but
think
like,
so, though. I mean, like, all the
disturbing
movies-
imagery, you know.
All the movies we grew up with had like
Oh no,
really
I'm
creepy,
for it.
like and like death and all
Yeah.
that
I'm
shit.
for
in
it. I'm definitely an advocate for showing kids of any age anything.
Anything.
They will process it. They will process it in the most filtered way, like most kids did, especially if you grew up in the 80s. Like everything and anything was on. You saw it. It was made for you, but it had a disturbing sequence in it. And then you would just either do what I did, which is know it's coming, so you go behind the couch, listen, wait for the cue for it to be done, and then resume, and then watch it again when you're like 13 and realize it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Or you would watch it, have a couple nightmares, and then get on with your life.
Yeah, piss your bed and get on.
Whatever.
with your
You
life.
get on with your life.
Yeah, but then you get to at least grow up, and at least even if it doesn't scare you, then you still have the feeling.
Yeah.
It's like I know how I felt how this made me feel.
I still get
haven't forgotten.
excited, like.
When Large Marge is about to come on
Oh
screen.
no!
Well, Large Marge, but the Gamork in Neverending Story.
Yeah.
Oh,
I still
God.
get like
Worked up.
my bones
Like at the
get going
end.
when I watch that. I love that movie. But like I'll watch it, and, when he's in the cave or whatever, like because that's scared.
Yeah.
For me, it's the
fuck out of me.
It's the sleeping warthog and rescuers down under.
Oh yeah.
That scared me a lot for some
Really?
reason when I was a kid.
For me, it's the whale
there's
in
nothing-
Pinocchio. Just like
Oh, yeah.
the
That's
kinda
massiveness
scary.
of it. And
Yeah.
a little tiny puppet in the ocean.
Witches.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
witches.
ugh.
Oh
The
yeah.
Grand
yeah,
High
yeah.
Witch.
Like
Yeah.
the
Vavitches,
reveal.
you mean?
You're like, Angelica Houston, she's pretty hot. And then she's like, oh, yeah. And rips off her skin.
I think like the one. I mean, we're gonna spoil all the things.
Well, we talked about our general thoughts.
Yeah.
I feel like now you know how we feel. You can comment on Ryan and tell him he's wrong if you disagree or
Yeah.
what have you.
I think there was one actual scare in this movie that I was like, oh, that frightened me a little bit because there's a few jump scares throughout, and then some kind of creepy moments, like just there's tension and stuff like that. But there's the Illuminati. I didn't really know
The
about
Illuma-whatty?
the
That was
Illuminati.
the dumb like.
Illuma-whatty?
The
Jacob?
You
Illuminati.
don't have Illuminati and like you
That's
never
the
heard
thing.
that
That's
term.
the thing that killed me. That stuff
Technically,
is all over this movie.
Yes, it's within the rules
and it
of
drives me
thing, but-
crazy for a couple reasons. Number one, because it's not something that doesn't exist in Earth 616.
Yeah.
It's also just a term. It's just a word.
Yeah.
So why would he be so confused by it? And two,
Illuma-whatty?
no one misses the middle.
No, yeah.
When someone says something, no one misses the middle of it. The what-a-naughty? That's what you say. You say the what-a-naughty? Also, Illuminati. No one goes the Illuminati and you go the Illuma-whatty? No one misses the middle of a word.
How are you going to do the Marvel Illuminati without Namor the Submariner?
Thank you.
Everyone in my
Thank you.
theater was looking at where's Namor the Submariner?
Where's the Submariner?
I don't see Namor the Submariners.
What is
I like
his
that you're
name?
calling him Namor. Isn't it
that his name?
Namor?
Namor? I don't know. He's never been in a movie. How do we know how it's pronounced?
It's only been read.
I was completely lost at the Illuminati thing. I thought that because like you guys are saying, I'm like, isn't the Illuminati a thing that exists?
Yes,
Like, do they
it
not know
is.
about
And
it?
it's
Okay.
stupid.
Angels
and you
and
don't need to
demons.
have that shit in there.
I had no clue.
In the Marvel like comic universe or whatever, there is an Illuminati. I think it's Mr. Fantastic, Black Panther, Namor the Submariner, and I think Iron Man maybe. But it's basically like these dudes who are all, like Black Panther has Wakanda, Namor the Submariner has Atlantis. I guess
Atlantis.
the other two are just
Reed Richards has New
powerful
York.
guys. Yeah. But they're basically like,
New York City.
these delegates for large interests in the
Yeah.
world or whatever. And they kind of make decisions above everyone else's head for the good, kind of like the conspiracy Illuminati.
Kind of like the
right?
real Illuminati.
Like the real
Yeah,
Illuminati.
yeah. Like the Pentaverate.
But they in the comics are responsible for like sending Hulk to that planet from Thor Ragnarok.
You mean Planet Hulk?
Planet Hulk. They don't call it that. They don't
happy,
call
James.
it Planet Hulk in the movies, okay?
Okay. All right.
But they are the ones
yeah.
responsible for that.
They make the hard decisions.
Yeah.
The hard
hard decisions that like
universe effectively.
ethically they have no right to do. Really,
Yeah, yeah.
Are
They've
they like
decided that they're-
arrogant in the comics too? Because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of like
Reed
had that
Richards
air.
goes, I'm going to leave this to my Imaginaut to figure out.
And they say,
What?
imagine
Are you making things up?
Imma-what-a-nut?
I mean, like, I feel like this was fun for me in the theater because I think a lot of people, when they saw like Reed Richards stuff, they're like, oh my God, here's the new main character. He's going to help Doctor Strange through this whole movie. And I was like, they're dead. Yeah. They're all dead.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as soon as they were talking, I'm like, these characters are all going to die.
Yeah.
But people were clapping. They're like, yes, the hero's here.
Yeah. It is weird, though. I don't know. It's tough because, like we said, we've had multiverse movies that have come out in the last couple months. Mm-hmm. And feel like they've all been better than this one at doing what this one tried to do. Mm-hmm. This one tried to represent the multiverse as kind of a sliding doors, what your life could be if you went a different way, right? If you haven't seen everything or everywhere all at once, you have to go see it. But it uses the motif of multiple universes for that exact purpose. And it's emotionally structured, it's grounded, it makes sense, it's perfect for the character, and it shows you what could have been and how things could have gone, and the things, and it's perfect. It's a perfect representation of that.
Agree.
Then there's the candy version of the multiverse, which is basically fan service stuff. Spider-Man did that way better than this movie did.
I kept waiting for Miles Teller. The
other Fantastic Four? What? Yeah.
Whoever was in that first one.
Like, oh my God, it's Killmonger, and he's like, no, I'm Human Torch. Oh,
as long as Miles Teller shows up with that.
Right? Chris Evans,
that would have been so funny. If
Captain America. He's like,
Captain America and the Human Torch are there, and like, what the fuck?
Which honestly would have been awesome. But I felt like this was like such, like, we have to put this in a bubble. It can't affect anything. It can't even really change the character. None of those cameos or whatever of the Illuminati really did anything to affect Doctor Strange's path.
It made everyone orgasm in my theater.
They basically went
get killed.
That's what I'm saying. It was like when you think about how Peter Parker from Amazing Spider-Man and Peter Parker from Sam Raimi Spider-Man actually came together and gave Tom Holland Spider-Man like something to work with, so he walked away feeling he wasn't alone in all of that. Like, that's how it's supposed to work. Like, you're supposed to see the other ways things could have gone, and then you can take that in, and you can either feel comforted by that, or you can think you have to do something different. In Doctor Strange, he like literally walks in and he's like, give me that book. And they're like, you don't understand. If you get your hands on that book, it is bad news. We're not only are we a super advanced dimension, but we are also so advanced that we knew you were coming. We know the other dimensions. Yeah. We got all this. We did this. We figured it out. We're the Illuminati. We've done it. And he goes, piss off. Like, essentially everything he says in that scene is essentially piss off. And they're like, we're pleading with you. This is not the right way to do things. And then he does it anyway. This is a whole movie, by the way. Every single time he comes to a thing, Wong says, don't do this, Strange. This isn't good. And he goes, piss off, Wong. And then he does it anyway. And then he succeeds. And I'm like, that's the worst.
That's the whole character.
Yeah.
I know, he's terrible.
Everything he's been in is that. Where it's like, no one tells me what to do. I do whatever I want. And it usually works out pretty good.
And it's terrible. It's so unsatisfying to watch for me as a viewer, because even though Tony Stark was like a pompous dick asshole, every single one of his movies,
playboy.
He learned something about himself that he could add to his repertoire that humbled him in some way, such that when we, spoiler, get to Endgame, he is prepared to make a decision that is the ultimate sacrifice. He's giving up his perfect life that he never thought he earned or had or whatever. What?
Eating Burger
King.
Eating Burger King, yeah. No, like he did everything, and it all built to that in small little increments. Doctor Strange is a dick.
I don't know
every single movie he's in, not evolving in any way, doesn't seem to care about really anyone but himself. Yeah. We got to get rid of him. Wong is better.
Oh, he's great.
Wong is way better. Wong has humility. He's constantly learning in these movies.
He's not trying to do an American accent.
He's not trying to do an American accent.
He's gotten better.
Yeah, there's the moment at the end of this movie.
Cumberbatch's American accent has gotten a little better.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like the whole driving conflict of this movie, which I do want to talk more about Elizabeth Olsen and Scarlet Witch and stuff, is Scarlet Witch trying to steal America Chavez's powers so she can go get her children. And then at the end of the movie, when they're on the cusp of preventing this, Wong is like, just kill her. Just kill America. Take her powers. And I was like, Wong, what are you talking about?
Wong, baby.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
I had two nitpicky moments.
Just two?
Two ones where I'm like, this is how I would have done this.
Oh, I had that the whole movie.
Yeah,
I'm an
and one of
asshole.
them was when, her powers are only triggered when she's scared, right?
Yeah.
And this is like the horror movie thing we're talking about, right? And at the end, Doctor Strange is like a zombie, right? And then he goes up to her, and he wants her to use her power.
Yes.
And I'm like, it would have been awesome if he was just a zombie, and then just goes, boom, and then just scares her, and then all of a sudden her powers. But then he goes,
Yeah.
what does he say? Like, choose love or something? What's the bullshit he says? Like,
I don't know.
like
There's
this.
so many points, and maybe it was just me, but there were so many points where someone would say something important and I couldn't hear it.
Well, yeah, there was that moment with the Scarlet
Witch,
Elizabeth
at the
Olsen talking to herself.
Climax of the movie, it's Scarlet Witch, and she's confronted with another universe where she has her kids, which I still don't really understand.
That was so.
So
we'll get it.
So she has her kids, and then she tries to steal her kids from another dimension of her, and then her good version self says, "Don't worry, they will be loved." In the theater, couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
I
I
was
had
in the
trouble
theater.
too.
I was in the theater with a
Oh,
bunch of
I
people,
heard it.
a whole group, and then we all asked that. Did anyone hear what she said?
Well,
No one had any idea.
It was phrased weird. She says like, "Know that they'll be loved,"
or something like that.
and I was like, I was trying to put together in my head. I've eventually figured it out. I'm like, okay, I think this is what she said. But when it came out of her mouth, I was like,
it also makes no sense because they're not your goddamn kids.
Yeah.
Why would you say that to someone bursts in here, right, while we're filming this. They hold a gun to me and they say, "Jacob, you're coming with me." And I say, "You're not taking my Jacob." And we fight, right?
And
then
you tear 'em
eventually,
in half
and then
because you'd
eventually,
rather have that than give them a full
and then eventually,
Wait a
I take the weapon away from this person, and then they're like, "I realize that this is a mistake," and I say to them, "Know that Jacob will be
And the other person,
fuck you, get the fuck out of here."
the other person is you.
And it's me. Yeah. So I don't know. It's this whole movie. Anytime they tried to progress the story or do anything with any of their characters, it's so utterly clunky. And the best example of this is, so the movie reveals, in my opinion, way too soon that Scarlet Witch is bad.
Yeah,
Right?
immediately.
I mean, in the trailer.
It's essentially immediate. They reveal that she's bad, and she's also an idiot because she had this whole plan to trick everybody, and then she goes, "Yeah, we're gonna have to get that dimension hopping American Chavez out of there." And Strange goes, "I never said her name was stupid." And then she's like, "Well, you found me out." It's like the dumbest way to reveal anything.
well,
ever.
she revealed it to herself. She goes, "Wait, you never did tell me that."
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
It's stupid. It's so dumb. And then she gets into a big fight. Doctor Strange teleports into another dimension to escape her with America Chavez, who I think you could write a dissertation on how horribly that character was written. And then they found the most scared and lost actress to play
I like the
role.
actress personally. I know
I
you
always want
didn't.
to point out we have an image of her behind her. Her power is that I know her from the comics, is that she can kick and punch holes in dimensions.
Okay,
Right?
so
that's her
that's her
power.
power, okay.
And somehow they managed to cast a human being with the tiniest fists I've ever seen.
Oh my god, I didn't even
It's a
realize that.
superpower. Doesn't the
The
fist size doesn't
fist.
matter?
Her punch at the end when she finally punches looks terrible. Anyway,
fist size doesn't matter. I
there's
would
a
agree
point
with
later
you.
on where then she attacks the Sanctum Centauro or whatever. No, they attack the one mountaintop. They got a lot of sanctums.
I forget the name of that
and
one.
then
Santorum Temple.
And then she has a special book which allows her to succeed in everything she's trying to do. The book is destroyed.
Yeah.
And then
Immediately.
it's almost immediate, and she's like, "Well, that's it. I'm screwed." And then Wong, under threat of 4 of his friends, I guess, who we've never seen before or
Bull
care
man?
about.
Was the bull
Yeah,
man?
can we
Bull
bring up-
man-
There's a Minotaur in this
There's
movie.
a Bull Man,
For some
which,
reason.
as far as I'm aware, hasn't been a
No. He's in the
penis?
background of maybe Endgamer. He might be one
What?
of the people.
Okay, all right. Maybe he's there before. But either way, no reason for
I
us
don't
to care about him other than the fact that he's got a bull head.
That's enough.
And so she's basically like, "I'm going to rip all these dimensions apart." We've established that it is an end game level catastrophic event. And Wong's like, I won't help you. And then she goes, well, I'm going to kill that bull. And he's like, I'll help you, which is stupid.
It's a bull man.
It's stupid.
Are you honestly tell me a bull man doesn't show up to your door and you're not willing to die
I know we need to
immediately
do
for
an
that
ad
bull
read. I know we need to do an ad read. So I just want to finish this by talking about how this movie is so poorly, I'm not going to say written. It's so poorly set up that they forget what's going on in the movie in scene to scene. They go to this tower that has a cave that has a replacement book so she can do her thing now. They get there. These monsters arise that appearing to defend the cave. And then Wong pulls out his sword and he's like, Wanda, stay back. I'm like, so you forgot that he's there as a hostage. He should have been like, this is awesome. Get him. Like, come on, giant monsters. Get Wanda. She's bad because we need to stop her here before she accesses all the information in this temple. The movie forgets that that's what's actually going on. He stands back. Wanda, be careful. And then stands back. And then it reveals that she's already got control over them anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like those things are like, you can enjoy it. Anyone can enjoy this movie. Oh, that is wrong. There's hard things to prove objectively in media. 99% of things are subjective. That is objectively wrong. That's a mistake.
Whoops.
In the story and the plot and the characters, that's wrong. That kind of shit drove me crazy in this movie. All right, sorry.
Answer for yourself, Kevin Feige.
Anyway, stay your rage for just a moment because we're going to hear from our sponsor now. Oh, we're back. Anyways, what were we yelling about?
My second nitpick thing about what I would have changed in Doctor Strange 2 is there's that moment at the end when Scarlet Witch and the Elizabeth Olsen who has the two kids are together. And it's like she's come face to face with the two kids she could have had or whatever. And I thought it would have been so awesome if, to mirror America Chavez's family story, that Elizabeth Olsen and the Scarlet Witch get in a committed relationship and raise those two madres, and they raise the two twins.
That would have been
how awesome would that have been?
As lovers, but they're
as
like the
lovers,
same
and they're the
person.
same person. Yes.
That would have been sick. Why
Thank
would it be
you.
great?
That would have been the best ending.
I'm so the whole so
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
there's like an infinite amount of multiverses where Elizabeth Olsen, who is the exact same person, seems to have the exact same personality, to have gone through the exact same, for the most part, a lot
little
of
more
the same
chill.
stuff.
Yeah.
But her kids are real in every single dimension, but the main one.
Yeah.
Vision seems to be dead in all of them, at least not present. He may just be an absent father.
Yeah.
She
She never cared about Vision. She only cared about his sperm.
is that what it was?
No,
She's
I
just
don't know.
after-
That- I mean,
I know.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Tony
But
Stark
then, like,
programmed this body to have sperm.
The Spider-Man movie is like, oh no, it's a totally different guy with a totally different life in every single multiverse or whatever. But in this one, the difference is that in some Doctor Strange has a ponytail, in some he does not have a ponytail.
Yes.
But then
And
Scarlet
sometimes
Witch
he has a goatee.
her kids are
Sometimes he
real
doesn't.
in every single one, but that one. And also
Not necessarily
in this one.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay. I was gonna devil's advocate.
In-
I didn't want to, but
In this one, in the main universe, whatever, she knows that she made up fake kids to have.
Yeah.
But she's like fucking obsessed with these fake
Well, she comes
kids.
determined with that at the end of WandaVision.
She does. She does. Well, we don't have time to cover that. And this whole movie, she's like obsessed with getting her fake kids.
Yeah.
That's like her whole motivating thing
Yes.
is
it, like,
to get her
implied?
fake kids that she knows are fake, that she knows she invented.
Is it implied that book
Shouldn't she
corrupts
just be
her
going
or
after
something?
Vision? He was real.
the most the cheapest cop out is that the
His
book
contract
corrupted
probably
her.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest cop out because all of that happens off screen. It's lame, it's weak. That's not a good excuse.
Yeah, and
you don't make a show that's all about dealing with grief. The entirety of that show.
But not grief for her kids.
Not even
for her
it's-
husband. She
for her
could've just been
husband.
going after Vision.
The show
Why
is
is she going for her kids? Why isn't she just going for Paul Bettany?
That's what-
it's probably because his contract expired.
It doesn't make any sense. That's what I'm saying. I wish they just came out and they just had text like the beginning of Star Wars. They were like, Paul Bettany's contract has expired,
Yes.
and this is the last film.
War.
This is the
Paul
last
Bettany's
film in Elizabeth
contract.
Olsen's contract. Just know
one
that
just
going
ridiculous.
in.
Yeah, thank you.
So we got to get rid of. We got to get rid of
Yeah.
them.
So we can't do the plot that makes sense.
Because you make a whole show that I actually enjoyed mostly about grief, dealing with grief. She made up this whole life where she and Vision still got to be together, and she didn't have to pop his brain right in front of her. Everyone else got their friends back except for basically her. She's left with nothing. So then she goes and she deals with that grief in the least constructive way possible, which is like pretending it didn't happen and like making up this whole thing. The show works for 8 episodes to get to the point where she goes, this is unhealthy and it's hurting the people around me, and I this can't be the way I do it, and then says goodbye to her children, realizes that Vision is gone, and prepares to move on to her life dealing with grief. Snap 2, she's just been with the Darkhold, and no, she's just going to find a different dimension where her fake kids exist. Doesn't make any sense.
It's
The
a shame
book corrupted
that,
her,
But
James.
here's the thing, though,
You
and they
can't
actually-
underestimate
they
that book.
They never showed this in the show, but Vision in that, like the fake Vision, goes down on her. And the real Vision never would.
Oh, okay, that
He
makes
never
sense.
would.
That makes sense, yeah.
So
that
was-
adds up.
Yeah.
And that nanotexture or something, huh? It's kind of a shame that there wasn't a more effectively written transition between like to get her to this point, because I do like her as a villain.
That's the big thing too, is I'm sitting here watching it, and this is caveat. It's so easy in hindsight to go back and watch something and be like, they should have done this, they should have done that. I'm not taking this piss out of the writer, because who knows what notes he was getting. This movie was also delayed. Things got shifted around. But
It was also probably prevised in 2016.
Exactly.
Written by Michael Waldron, who's done Rick and Morty, Community, and
so
Loki.
He did Rick and Morty multiverse episodes too. So I think he knows how
probably
multiverse
why
stuff
he was
works.
hired.
But so you could have easily, they established that you can transfer your consciousness into another dimension version of you.
Wait, did he write the the pizza delivery community episode
Maybe.
where they roll the dice and it's like different? That's like the best episode of Community. That's kind of
I'm not
it's
sure.
a multiverse
Maybe.
thing.
I'm not blaming this
That's
writer.
crazy. No, that's just
But
crazy.
Yeah.
they establish you can dreamwalk into other people's minds.
Well, and dreaming is you're in another.
Dreaming is real life.
Yeah.
If you're dreaming, you're in another.
Oh yeah, yeah.
parallel.
If you've ever had a dream where you fell off a cliff, that's because there's a dimension version of you falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
But either way, you can dreamwalk into someone else's consciousness and take them over. When you have that tool, why don't you just have a bad Wanda who made the wrong decision at the end of WandaVision dreamwalk into our good Wanda, and then corrupt her, and then you find out, oh shit, Wanda's bad. No, she's using this tool that we've already established to be corrupted. Then at the end, the Mi Madres things is the good Wanda who's actually conveying some sort of like theme or moral into this movie that's pretty much devoid of most of it, could be the Wanda we know and care about, who's been through a lot of stuff with us,
well, once they
confronting
see
this other Wanda.
Once they see this podcast, I think they're probably.
You think they're going to?
I think they'll retroactively
They're
do
retroactive.
that.
Okay,
No,
Because like
again,
obviously
hindsight is so easy.
she's
to
not
do.
dead.
But it sucks.
She's not dead,
It
right?
sucks when you see the tool, when you see everything there, the bits and pieces,
Yeah.
and they're just completely not being used. There's a lot of weird stuff like that in this movie. The very first scene is Strange and America Chavez dancing through this weird.
It was called something. I don't remember.
Something
what it was
other dimension, because it pops up in it pops up in the
It's like a pocket.
the other
It's
one.
like a crossroads.
something
in-between,
the
yeah.
crossroads,
Bullshit,
A
yeah.
nexus.
and they established that his magic powers are basically throwing balls of whatever he wants to. He throws ice balls.
he can also do
He
whips.
throws whip balls.
Well,
he
sometimes
throws-
they're blue, sometimes
throws
they're purple.
fireballs. He can throw whatever balls he wants to. Later on, he has a fight with another version of him. That
Well, he's got an extra eye, so it's
a third eye version of him, but they can only throw notes that are around like Ghost Rider from the show. Like,
Oh, the musical
Yeah.
fight sequence.
cool.
Yeah.
in
It
its
was
own.
cool.
like that.
I like that a
Scene
lot.
Cool, yeah.
doesn't make
Danny
any
Elfman.
fucking
No, of course
sense.
not.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he throw an ice ball? Like he's like literally about to get hit by like a B sharp or something.
Yeah.
And then he goes, if only I had a note. And then there's a harp, and he goes like a bink, and he flicks from the harp or whatever. And I'm like, throw an ice ball or whip him
It'll go
with your
faster.
whip.
Oh, I don't know. About that.
Like none of this is established.
That's
It's
the
a
scene where
Sin
the
Cape.
Sam Raimi's car is in the background.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
I was
did
looking
see it.
for that.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah,
whoa,
it's floating
really?
by.
In the background
Oh.
of that like weird nightmare house or whatever. I think like when you look in the tornado, the swirling tornado.
When they first walk up in that world,
thing
it's
is-
like floating right in front of them.
For the
Oh, is
viewers,
that what it
yeah.
was? Okay, yeah.
For the listeners at home, Sam Raimi puts is it a Charger?
I think it's a Pontiac or a
Pontiac
Is it
from
a
the
Pontiac?
70s.
He disguised
and
it
everyone
as a
was
wagon in Quick and the Dead.
Ooh, crafty. That's Sam Raimi.
But anyway, that movie is full of stuff like that where I'm like, great sequence, super cool. This is not established. We talked about when Black Bolt, who
Oh, God, I
I'm the only
forgot.
person who I probably know Black Bolt, and it's
I
because
know
I play
Clue.
Marvel Puzzle Quest, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Peggy Carter, that
don't know.
character, Marvel Puzzle Quest original creation. That game created
What?
Peggy Carter, Captain America.
Is this like an iPhone app or what is
it's an
this?
app. Yeah, it's the
Why
game
do
that
I
I
know
play every
Black
single
Bolt?
day for the last 8 years of my life.
And they made a character
Yeah,
in
it
a
was
movie
like-
based on.
It was
an-
for like the 75th anniversary of Captain America that they're like, hey, these properties make special editions, and most of them just made him with like a white suit or something like that. Marvel Puzzle Quest made, what if Peggy Carter got the super serum and she became Captain America, but
British.
but British, and then that was so cool. Marvel liked it so much that then they put it in a comic, and then they put it in What If, and it was so popular there that they put it in this movie. Marvel Puzzle Quest was in this movie, so I can't hate it. Anyway, Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, yeah. Or
So,
what is his name,
like-
like Blackest Boltus or something
Yeah,
like that?
whatever. Yeah. The Silent King.
What is their
He's the Immortals.
Immortals.
Yeah, they live on the moon.
Immortals?
And so
They're,
he,
yeah.
There's Immortals and Eternals?
also we
Yeah.
could have had Medusa with her long hair and hot bodysuit, and we got Silent King instead.
He's
anyway,
got a big dog. That's pretty cool.
the fact
big
that they
dog.
walk up and then Wanda covers his mouth and then he pops himself is really cool.
Yeah.
But then it goes, why doesn't she just cover everyone's mouth?
yeah.
Every single person.
I'm glad you
well,
brought
no,
that
because
up.
he has
Boom, boom,
voice,
boom, boom.
he has
Boom, boom,
voice
boom, boom.
powers.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. So what? Just cover everyone's mouth.
Well, they're not, their heads aren't going to
Well,
explode.
if
But
she
they can
covered
stop
her-
talking.
Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
Ryan.
so- go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't mean you
well,
to stop
Reed
talking.
could make new holes all over his body.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
okay.
He can make a hole anywhere.
That was a big thing I thought about during the movie. It kind of reminded me of why I am not a Harry Potter fan. Where it's just like, and I think I've
a few
complained
reasons,
about
yeah.
this, and this, it's like
spellcasting.
there was actually a Harry Potter scene in this movie.
once magic is introduced, and literally it's just a character
Yeah.
can seemingly do anything and bend
Yeah.
all reality.
She does a Matrix.
I
on him.
completely kind of check out. I'm just like, yeah, like you said, you can do anything. So everything time that they get out of a weird circumstance, you're like, okay, you could have done anything.
Oh my
there.
God. I almost forgot to talk about
Yes,
what,
please.
in my opinion, is the worst scene of the whole movie.
Go for it.
The magical memory TV.
Okay,
Wait,
so
what? Is that a thing?
the second worst scene.
Okay.
The second worst scene. Memory Lane is what it's called.
Sorry.
But when they, and it's, I think this frustrates me because it's so cool. It's shot like a horror movie. She's all bruised and bust up from the battle.
Yeah.
And she's like a monster with glowing eyes chasing them through the sewers.
Yeah.
And they keep
limping after.
closing doors. And
Yeah,
she keeps
yeah.
exploding through the doors. She closes the door. They close the door. Boom. She explodes through it. Close the door. Then close a third door. And they stop for no reason. Turn around to look at the door, even though they just need to go
never
through
know.
one more door to get to where they're
Might have got
going.
her. You never
And then
know.
and then the movie slows down, and I'm pretty sure this scene is about 45 minutes long. It slows down, and it shows close-ups of each of the three: Rachel McAdams, America Chavez, and Doctor Strange. It shows each of them twice, close up, slow motion, with rain moving slowly, and the door 3 times. And you're like, what's she gonna do? And then literally Wanda just hops out from off camera on the left.
The side, yeah, I remember that. Like, where was she? And why, how did
It's
everyone?
the least satisfying payoff.
Found a hidden path.
That's what I was like, did they not notice that there was a tunnel there? Or did she? And they established that she can move through reflections early in the movie. I'm like, oh, is she gonna? They're showing
yeah.
drops. Is she gonna be all around them? That'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
No, she's literally off camera. They go action Wanda, and then she goes ha. Like it's how we'd shoot it in the office.
Yeah, like that part, like the only reason that startled me at all is because I was like, is something gonna happen? Because like I've been here for such a long time. I actually did work on me when like Charles Xavier is in like her mind and that white void and there's that red mist coming and I'm like, oh, it's gonna get him. And then she like pops out like
That was cool shit.
I was like, oh,
That was
cool.
awesome. Yeah, that was super
So
cool.
Chuck shows up in the biggest X-Men wheelchair I've ever seen in my life.
On
That thing
paper?
was fucking huge. I
On
get
paper?
it. It's the cartoon one.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like the classic 90s
Cartoon
X-Men
theme.
comic. The cartoon theme plays.
Yep.
But it's like, it's so big. Just a little slimmer, I think, could have been more. Because it is like, his arms, his shoulders are like
Yeah,
up.
he's in it.
It's not like, it should be,
Yeah.
I would think like about here, like comfortable. He's like, a child sitting in his father's wheelchair. or
It's like
something.
they designed it for Andre the Giant,
Yeah.
and then,
and then Patrick Stewart came in, and then,
Well, this Charles Xavier's bowels don't work either.
Lou Ferrigno dropped out.
Yeah. I was going
I'll
to bring
do
up
it.
Ryan because we were talking about how James, you said he should just cover everybody's mouths, but if he hadn't covered up or if she had covered up their mouths, then Reed Richards wouldn't have been able to float down and be like, Wanda, stop. This is Black Bolt's weakness.
yeah,
yeah.
true.
And then she
Yeah.
kills him immediately.
That whole scene was like what could have been one of the cooler. I guess maybe it kind of still was. But
Yeah, I like that scene.
It's cool, like in a Marvel movie, getting to see someone just kill 5 people. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
These are all fake people that we don't care about because they're not actually part of the thing. Whatever. They're just. It's like fan service, which is not necessarily fan service is fine. It's a comic book movie, but like, it's cool seeing a character actually just like really murder people.
Oh yeah.
Really clearly and definitively murder 5 people.
Yeah.
I bet Dwight liked that scene.
Nice.
It was an Office reference. Continue.
But again,
They were friends at
It
the
all
end.
it all
I
does
know.
just happen off screen, kind of, and like.
It's weird because the movie tells you that they've been preparing for this, that they're
And then they
knowledgeable of
clearly
this,
haven't.
and then their strategy was punch hard.
Yeah.
Like
Just do
like
what we always do.
yeah, just punch, just start punching.
They have a cage that can keep the most magical wizard of the multiverse.
Well,
it's a plastic
It's
cage.
because he had magic handcuffs.
Okay, fine. They have magic handcuffs. They don't have anything planned for her.
I don't know. It's lots of weird contradictions.
And they clearly say we're not worried about Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
they
we
say
can
that
handle
multiple
her.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's immediately when you're like, they're all going to get killed. In the next scene.
By the way, when they all go to fight Mordo, who
Oh yeah, Mordo's in this.
listen, I love me some Mordo.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when they first meet again, Doctor Strange is like, Mordo, the dimension, my dimension version has been tormenting me for the last 10 years. I'm like, has he? Because the last time we saw him was in the end credits of Doctor Strange 1, where he was in someone's basement, not screwing with you at all.
He didn't die on that?
That's the only
No.
way you know
I
that
don't
he's
remember.
turning against Doctor Strange. Is
And-
that end credits scene.
But then it's like, so he's like, well, that's not me. I'm not that Mordo.
Yeah.
And then he still kind of betrays him using anti-magic dust, which, so many great scenes. When he's like, I've poisoned your tea. And then Doctor Strange is like, you poisoned my tea. And they show a shot and he's like, I used anti-magic tea poison.
over there.
Tea. It's over there. I'm like, did I miss something? Is that a known, is that kryptonite thing? And then it cuts to America Chavez and she goes like, I'm getting so tired.
Yep.
And she flops,
Yeah.
she flops like that down into her seat, and I'm like, "That's interesting." She really went for it. Anyway, Mordo stays to watch him, and then they get into a fight in a little pit that separates.
Yeah, it's like a little hallway.
The Illuminati from
It's like a
them.
moat, kind of.
Yeah.
And then he defeats him using all the power of parkour.
Yeah. Well, what would you use?
He leaps off his shoulders and he climbs out, and Mordo's like, I can't do that. I can't jump that high. And he's like, well, I guess you're here for now.
you're stuck
And then
then.
the next time we see Doctor Strange, there's a whole sequence where a dinosaur shadow appears on the wall, and it makes the sound of an approaching dinosaur. And then it reveals that it's Doctor Strange. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
yeah, it's all like
And if the movie was all that, it would have been awesome. But it's only like 25% that. And so when it happens, it's so jarring that I'm just like, why did they film a dinosaur shadow that made dinosaur noises?
Sam Raimi's awesome.
They had that file. Was in the piece.
guess
They-
so.
They're not going to not use.
If
their
it was
dinosaur shadow
all
file.
consistent, it would be really, really fun.
Yeah.
I think is my issue.
I mean, I think with all the Marvel movies that are directed by somebody who they got because they have a certain sensibility or those are also the most inconsistent movies. Like Thor Ragnarok is wildly inconsistent because it's so good for most of it, and then all of a sudden it like puts in all the end of the world Ragnarok shit that you're like, clearly Taika Waititi doesn't seem to have cared about the whole what's her face?
Hela?
Kate Blanchett
Hela?
stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff to me seems like a different movie that was added later
Yeah.
and directed by somebody else.
Well,
It's because like they have to insert their stuff to make it fit within the rest of the thing, or to continue building towards another thing.
Yeah.
So those movies where they have somebody who's got like a unique perspective, like a sensibility about them, are the most like inconsistent to me, because it is like, here's where they are allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And here's where Marvel needs to get something done to set up. the
I
next movie.
disagree.
Okay.
And only because there's one movie that I think there's one movie that proves you wrong, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy, where
I agree.
He basically, and I think, and now having seen all these other ones, because that movie feels like it was written and directed by him, which I think is the key, where it's like, he's the only one that they've given the keys to, like, all right, you can also write the script, you Mr. Auteur.
That's the thing.
And I think
that's the only one where literally no one in the world had any emotional investment in the Guardians of the Galaxy. It takes place, especially when they made the first one, it takes place completely outside of any other Marvel shit. So anything they do in Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't have to have any bearing on the rest of it unless they want it to.
I wish they'd learned the lesson though of that movie.
I think they gave him just full fucking control.
And that's the best one.
They should
learn that lesson and do more of that.
The lesson they learned, unfortunately, because I also love Guardians of the Galaxy, is that, even if we just give them their own playground that doesn't seem like it's touching anything else, it might become super important because it's awesome. And so we have to make sure that it still has our fingerprint on it, because we can't just do that. So you get a movie like this or Eternals or something that like could theoretically just be anywhere else. You could do anything you want to now. You're going into the multiverse, right? Like you could have Doctor Strange like go to bed one night and then Christmas carol through the multiverse and come out in the morning and be like, what day is it? And they're like, oh, it's Christmas. Like you could do anything you want to, just like it just hasn't moved through time, but they still have to
Scrooged.
put their hands on it. The weirdest thing for me about Marvel at large is that I don't know what the main storyline is right now. Nothing.
I was going to bring that up.
Shang-Chi feels like a side story, right? Yeah. Eternals feels like a side story. Doctor Strange feels like a side story. Spider-Man felt like a main story, except at the end of Spider-Man, spoiler, they clear everyone's memory, and it's basically resets itself. Also,
he comes up in this movie.
No, that Spider-Man to me felt like a fully standalone thing, like a fully realized standalone thing, where it didn't feel like it needed to or was trying to build towards anything.
But it could have been, right? Like it could have been establishing that like
Sure,
Tony, there is no
multiverse
Tony,
shit or
and
whatever.
there's like there's multiverse.
It's kind of weird because like we've had like 3 multiverse things now, because we have this movie. There's Loki, which had some multiverse stuff, and Spider-Man.
Loki fucks himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Why isn't Doctor Strange sucking
Wanda,
his own dick?
Wanda should be.
Why is it
Wanda
Wanda?
should be
Those 2 visions?
Mi madres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got like 3 multiverse things that all feel completely disconnected from each other. Somehow.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any bearing on. It's
They're all like different.
3 fully separate.
No one's talking about the fact that there is now a hand sticking out of the planet.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because
No one's talking in Eternals.
Because
Well, I think in the
I didn't
Marvel
see that
universe, also no one saw or liked Eternals.
that's fair. That's fair.
because of
They're kinda
Eternals,
like, eh.
there should be a TV screen in every superhoohero headquarters that has that
like,
giant hand
What?
sticking out.
There was
of
a
there.
fucking hand in our planet?
Yeah. Did that happen in your dimension? Did you get the hand? Like that's how it should be. It is. It's just wild because I'm like, it feels pretty directionless right now,
Yeah.
and I think the last thing I want is to encourage Marvel to make more Iron Man 2s, which are movies that sacrifice their own souls so that way they can be a prequel to one of their crossover movies. But I'm just like, I don't know how any of this has to do with anything else. There's so much happening. It's like when X-Men told stories in the Savage Land. I'm like, I don't give a shit what happens here. Or like, I don't care at all.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think to me, the ideal would be that not everything has to build towards something else. Like, I think the original Marvel movies, which all have their own problems, and I would say there's more bad than good. It's like the first Iron Man's pretty good. Incredible Hulk and Thor or whatever those are.
yeah.
And then like Avengers is cool because it's, and I know people will be like, every one of those movies was building towards Avengers. And it's like, not really. You can watch any of those movies and just cut the end credits scene and be like, that was a cool superhero movie on its own. And then Avengers also works because it's like, if you do watch those end credit scenes, it's
even
a cool
Guardians of the Galaxy though has its MacGuffin is the ammunition for Infinity War.
Sure.
Right? Like they're dealing with an item that becomes important later. I don't know. I mean, maybe there is, but it doesn't feel important now. Like the America Chavez stuff feels like they want to make a Young Avengers television show. So they have to keep reminding you that America Chavez exists, that Wiccan exists. Like they will have to keep reminding you that these characters
Wiccan?
exist.
Is that
one
in
of
the
her
movie?
kids
Like the Ewok?
is Wiccan.
One of whose kids?
Wanda's kids.
What?
Those
I hope it's the one that
the
just
twin
goes-
boys.
Yeah, one of them is Wiccan, and the other one is like
fuck?
Speed Boy or something.
Speed Boy.
They're like part of the Young
Oh yeah, they had
Avengers.
superpowers at the end of
fast-
WandaVision.
Yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about
They were
that.
Oh
dressed-
wait. So it's just her and her brother?
No, it's Wiccan and Speed Boy.
That sounds like a fast
how
guy.
they were dressed
that
in the
sounds like a
Halloween
fast guy
episode.
and a magic guy.
I know.
Just her and her
I get
brother.
it. Yes. Okay.
Do you think that the writer had the twin storyline with Wanda to mirror Elizabeth Olsen's traumatic life of living in the shadow of her twin sister?
Wow.
I do.
Okay, that's
think
what
that was
that's,
exa-
that was
yeah.
what
You nailed it down, Ryan.
Yeah.
What are they building towards?
I don't
I've
know.
heard people.
I think they're building
a lot
towards
of
a
people think they're doing Secret Wars, but that doesn't.
Well,
I
Kang
don't know
the
what the fuck that is.
Conqueror
want, but
is apparently supposed to.
Kang's coming. Also,
Kang?
there's
Yeah,
the
'cause he was in Loki,
who's
right?
Doctor
Yeah.
Strange's bad guy. That's the spooky spaceman and the
Oh,
name?
Dormammu?
Dormammu.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he already beat Dormammu.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't Dormammu in this one kind of? Isn't he like a face guy in the? There's
I have no idea
Dormammu.
what
Other
you're talking about.
I mean, I
Dormammus.
kind of like how this one kind of just it exists. I think I appreciate these movies existing on their own now.
That's what I'm
because it's
saying,
less
like,
tiring.
I wish more of them could do that.
Yeah.
And still. I don't
Oh
know.
wait, there's the dementia. Charlize Theron shows up in a Power Ranger
my
costume.
God.
Oh my God. Shit.
Is that a Dormammu dimension?
terrible.
That she
The ending is so
opens?
funny because it is kind of a Sam Raimi ending, you know, like a last minute kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Bruce Campbell.
We haven't even talked about
yeah, I forgot about
what's
that.
his
was
name?
good.
Pizza Papa always gets paid.
That's the best part of the movie.
It was.
Pizza Pop.
Pizza Papa. They go
I
in this
fucking
planet.
love Pizza
They go
Papa.
in this dimension. They don't spend any. They generally don't spend any money, and then immediately they get in a confrontation with Pizza Papa.
Who again,
Bruce
the
Campbell.
best character of
Yeah.
the MCU so far.
Yeah, and then the scene again goes on for very long.
Yeah.
very long. They're like, it's fine. It's digital. We can just keep
Yeah,
rolling.
yeah,
And like speaks to Doctor Strange's personality. His solution to this isn't like, let's reason with this guy we didn't know. He's gonna punch himself in the face for 2 weeks.
He's gonna beat the fuck out of himself. For 2 weeks.
It is weird.
Which is funny Sam Raimi shit because
Yeah.
like Drag Me to Hell, one of the meanest
oh yeah
movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Sam Raimi movies in general are so fucking mean.
Yeah, life
Love
is
it.
unfair
to their protagonists,
Life's
and
a
it's
bitch
the
and
That's
cruel.
what I'm saying. It's the fucking best.
It's great. Yeah.
Like Bruce Campbell, all the Evil Dead movies are just Bruce Campbell getting tortured, and it rocks. It's so. Drag Me to Hell is just a woman being tortured
Yep.
for the whole movie up until the end, where she continues to get tortured.
yeah.
And then
For all
dies.
eternity.
Yeah, and that's what. That's Pizza Papa. Pizza Papa. It's
I
so
tell you, the thing, I
good.
think they just got their protagonist wrong. Like, because like
should've been
Wong
Pizza Papa.
also goes through a lot of shit in this
Yeah.
movie. Like, they just need to make it about Wong. I want to say the ending though is really funny because we mentioned it before. He has to fight a dark version of himself for some reason. To get the Darkhold book from him, so that way he can use it, even though everyone's telling him not to, but he proves them wrong, which is a
how it
weird
always goes.
thing. But anyway, so then the end result is he gets a third eye, and so there's an end, a first end credits scene where he comes out of his house and he's like, things are good again, and he's marching along, and he crosses the street and he goes and he collapses, and then he goes and it reveals that Doctor Strange has the third eye, and then by the time you get to the middle of the credits, there's another scene where he's continuing his walk, going,
he's-
whistling along,
and he's recovered nicely.
he's fine.
Yeah.
And then Charlize Theron in what appears to be whatever they could find in the wardrobe department nearby shows up.
At the Funhaus wardrobe.
Shows up and then says, "You have to come with me." And then he says, "Let's go." And then opens the third eye. And I'm
he
like,
seems to have conquered whatever it was.
so
that-
we got there. We figured it out.
Yeah.
We got there. It's just, I don't know. Everything is so
It was stupid.
disposable.
Yeah, but then if you wait till the end,
Then
a
you
little
get the
treat,
Pizza Papa
You get a little
payoff.
more Pizza Papa.
Yeah, you get
Which
the
was
Pizza
really
Papa
funny.
payoff.
I laughed aloud. It was just, it's over.
I don't know. That's why the movie is so difficult for me, because it could be cool shit. We didn't even talk about dead Doctor Strange.
which was cool.
Which is
Yeah.
cool.
Which is
Yeah.
cool.
They break their own rules.
He has a kid made out of
They explain that
hands.
you dreamwalk into the consciousness of another, and last time I checked, a corpse doesn't have a consciousness. Just leave out that line, and no one will ask.
I did love that kind of corniness.
but
She's
I
like,
liked the demon cape. He had a
Him
demon
doing
cape.
it
Yeah.
was fucking sick. It was awesome.
When he's like the lightning's flashing, and Rachel McAdams is like don't you need like another living Doctor Strange? He's like, who said anything about living?
I'm like,
and
I
then
think
like
you
lightning's
did.
flashing.
It
It was cool as hell though.
It was
I-
awesome.
and I did like him giving an emotional speech to America Chavez, going like, "You have to choose."
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. Well, then
great.
he's like, make sure to protect me from the demons. And she's like, what are you talking about?
fuck?
And I'm going, what are you talking about? And the demons show up, and she's like, it's okay. I'm going to create a bazooka out of this vase, like the Elden Ring weapon where you like slap the bomb.
jar cannon.
The jar cannon. And I was like, I'm glad that they were prepared for this because I was not.
He's with Rachel McAdams, who many will have forgotten was in the first movie at all.
Yep.
I did.
Yeah, and he's been in love with her this whole time.
And he's in love with her,
Whole
yeah,
time.
which we also, I think everyone...
Never mentioned.
No one, yeah. He tells her, protect me from the demons, right?
Yeah.
She's a surgeon?
She's a
She's
scientist.
a
In
scientist.
this one, she's like a multiverse scientist, but I
Yeah.
think she's a doctor, a surgeon.
Something
in
like
the
that.
original one. What are her qualifications to protect this man from demons?
She
I don't see any way
She
that a
has beaten
surgeon...
New
Science.
Game +7.
Oh,
So,
had?
yeah, so she's
Wow.
Elden Lord +7, and so she's pretty well versed.
in this universe.
Did she
this
solo
universe.
Malekith?
She and
no
she even
summons?
used the parry. Yeah,
Look at Ryan.
for no reason
It's
she used it.
like-
It's weird too because they also build a relationship together. They don't build they have a relationship,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
implied that they're in love, but like they don't know each other.
I think
He's also a dick to her most of the
we're
time.
gonna find out that they've been fucking behind her husband's
Oh,
back this
okay.
whole time.
America
Wait, her
Chavez,
husband-
he's had to teleport him to
Well,
this
wait,
other
her
universe.
husband actually, her
Bang.
husband is a fan of Doctor Strange, so I think he actually gets off knowing that they're fucking.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I think it's actually kind of consistent.
He thinks it's awesome.
He doesn't want her to know that he knows because that's just a whole. Then how's she gonna respect him anymore?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
he's into it
He's into it. He was aware.
big time. Yeah.
Remember how the Marvel forgot that one of Doctor Strange's major powers is knocking people's spirits out of their body?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Forgot about
Like,
that.
that's like one
He
of
does
his
that to
things.
Spider-Man.
He never uses
But
it.
now he has a power where it makes a giant
Also-
dog head jump out of the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I saw that. I was like, what the
Cool.
fuck
it's
was
like
that?
the Elden Ring guys who can bring the skeletons out of the ground.
Yeah.
Same thing.
That big eye thing at the beginning looked really awesome. The
yeah.
effects wise.
Except that they didn't call it Shuma Garath. And
Suicide
and
Squad,
we
or-
know that it's called not Starro. Shuma Garath is the name of that creature. I don't care if there's licensing issues. You can't call it Gargantos or whatever.
Oh,
Come on.
I like when its eyeball get ripped out. That was awesome.
Well, yeah, when the eyeball got ripped out, and there was that one like awesome shot in slow mo where like America Chavez is like going to the book with like underneath it or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that, and like that looked amazing. But then there was also part not to like have the cliche railing against shitty CGI, but there was so much stuff in the movie where I'm like, it just looked like
Yes.
nothingness cartoon, and I'm
Yeah,
like, but then it would go between that to like the really fully rendered realized eye gargantuan guy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that
I
that
think
looks cool.
there's effects that they spend money on and effects that they do not spend.
Yeah.
There's
But,
yeah.
well, why go between
But,
the two? Only do the one that you spend money on.
Because if you're gonna green screen, if you are for God knows why, gonna green screen someone eating in a restaurant, you're basically just gonna hire someone who can key out the footage. And
Yeah.
put some fucking stock footage behind
Yeah.
it. Whatever.
We're reaching
If you're
the-
doing a full on like
We'll go for 90
rendered
minutes.
animal.
All
We're
right.
talking about memory
All right.
lane.
We have to
I know.
talk about Memory Lane.
What the heck is Memory Lane?
Okay.
Is that in this movie?
Yes.
So
Quickly,
Memory Lane,
quickly.
They go to a parallel
meet
universe.
me
They go to a
Madres.
parallel universe. They Doctor Strange steps on a thing. and
Oh,
he
yeah,
sees-
that
he
thing.
sees
Hold
his
on.
life.
Hold on. In this universe, red is green and green is red.
That's true. That's
And,
important.
And plants grow on trees, and everyone wears hats because Britain.
Was that Pizza Papa universe?
That was Pizza
Yeah.
Poppy.
Okay,
He
yeah.
was the only one who wasn't dressed like everybody.
know his
if you
ass
look
is
at
on
that
Memory
universe,
Lane.
everyone's wearing like they look like the Apple guy.
Yeah.
A piece of art. They
Yeah.
all look like they're like in England, probably because Peggy Carter is Captain America or whatever. But except for Pizza Papa, who's not like
just a
anyone
guy,
at all.
just a New York
and
guy.
Then,
Yeah.
And then if you walk down the street, there's a chance you might accidentally
Go to Memory Lane, where you see an important memory.
a randomly chosen
bad memory?
important
Is it
memory.
random? Okay,
Well,
but it's
Pay
important.
for it, but you can get a free sample.
I
at
would
the
say,
door.
well, a voiceover tells you that it costs money, but then it
shows you
also
the full
simultaneously
thing.
gives it to you
Yeah.
for free.
Which is the
So
most
it's kind of a
important
recall
possible thing.
situation,
Yeah.
And
I
it
guess.
could be
I wonder if they're worried about recall scenarios where just by having this on the street, they accidentally, you have like a Douglas Quaid who's walking down the street.
Yeah.
he
It's
hits
kind of bad
that,
news. Yeah.
Suddenly his full secret agent memories are coming back. He's going up to Mars.
No one.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yes. No one seems to care, except for these two, about memory lane. It seems like it's such a passe thing.
Yeah.
And for one of us, it might show a random dinner we had,
Yeah.
where we got a gift. And for the other, it'll show us when our mi madres were taken from us because we saw a bee.
Yeah, because we saw it.
In a format that I thought was so expertly done, so it could be completely cut out of China. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
how can we
Yeah.
check a box but also cut it out?
Well, okay,
for
wait.
China?
So America Chavez is also gay, yes?
I don't know.
I don't know.
She is. I think in
I
the
don't read these comics.
Maybe.
or the cartoon or something, because I had to look up who the fuck she was. And I think she's also gay.
Okay.
So is her, but that actually.
You're saying is it
That-
genetic?
No, but I think that is. what
We're
you
at the end of
said.
the podcast. Okay, well, then we got a lot of time for
didn't
that.
know is important because that means that they just didn't say that,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
so that it can be
Yeah.
cut out for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
international releases.
Yes. She
But-
likes pizza.
So
And she has two moms.
yeah, means
that's
my
all I
best.
know about. And
but
she has tiny
they
fists.
go to memory lane. Doctor Strange watches his memory, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I'm right. He says, "We don't have time for this."
Yeah.
America Chavez steps on her memory lane,
Yeah.
sees mis madres,
Yep.
says, "We don't have time for that."
Yep.
Like back to back, I
Yeah.
think.
It was a joke, though,
it was 10
right?
minutes.
I mean, it was.
It's because you can
Was it?
slip the footage,
A joke?
Patrick, and
thought it
just
was
make
funny.
it as though it was never there.
Oh, so China doesn't have to see.
So we just get
they
it
have
right
China
out.
has their own. We don't remember this.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. That makes sense. I was confused about the Pride Pin because their universe seemed pretty chill.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
did she go to another universe and was like, "Wow, it's bad here"?
It
and then
is-
got it, or is
Yeah,
it just,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it's just a Pride
It's
Pin.
so
Doesn't
weird.
necessarily mean that things are bad.
It's so weird that we have a character who jumps through dimension and has apparently been doing so for the last 8 to 10
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
maybe,
Since her parents
depending on
died.
her age or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
because she started pretty young.
Yeah.
She's been popping around dimension to dimension, and she wears a jean jacket
Yeah.
with an American
American flag.
star on the back of it.
Texas
Right?
style.
Yeah.
Texas style American. Her name is America,
Yeah.
and none of that is ever discussed ever.
Right.
No,
So-
that's just how it is. It's just
Also,
yeah.
I just want to say, no one cares that her name is America. They'll say lines in this movie like "America has to be brave," and no one goes, "That sounds really dumb." I'm gonna call you
Also
Chavez.
thought- yeah.
Honestly,
friend
the
named
whole
Captain
time
America.
I'm sitting there, yeah, my brain had
How many people do you know named America?
Not many.
I mean,
One,
it is
Captain.
a name. I know that I'm aware of it as a name,
Yeah.
but
It's just so casually treated. It's not like they read the comics.
yeah.
Closing thoughts
Anyway,
before Patrick goes on ananother tirade.
I love it. We should just
I'm
keep this
not-
rolling.
Yeah, I mean it is fun.
My closing thoughts are boo, 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 but to put a period on the conversation about what are they going to do next, my over/under 10 years before they have a big, great reset, and they just say, "Okay, it's done. Period. Goodbye. We're going to start over with Iron Man 1 again next year."
This movie made like $500 million. Or something,
Yeah.
didn't it?
It's not enough.
Let me
Doing
see.
crazy.
I have a
The
stat
thing is,
here.
we can sit here all day. It doesn't stop it from making
Current
$1 billion.
box
Oh, and
office.
like, yeah, of course. not.
688
But I think I'm just saying
There
that,
you go.
nothing can sustain for like they must know that there's going to be fatigue set in at some point, so they got to spike it up at some point.
we'll be long dead
Well,
before they
once,
finish
yeah,
making
once,
these.
yeah, because
you're
I
right.
think they've had enough shit. Like, yeah, there's Eternals and stuff like that, where it's just like, who the fuck? Even comic book fans, I think mostly are like,
Yeah.
I don't know who these people are, but like, or you know them by maybe sort of as like a whatever. I think once it becomes all that, and everyone's contract runs out, like once Chris Hemsworth, right,
Yeah.
once his
Yes.
contract is up, once all these other like. At some
It's over,
point,
baby.
because they're going to be out of superheroes too, or like known superheroes.
Doctor Strange 2 box office disaster. Thank you very much.
What are you
Oh
talking
my
about?
god,
It's a
10-day
$100 million
cube.
loser.
what's a 10-day
A
cube?
cume?
Is that cumulative?
It's 10-day cum.
Cumulative. Yeah, 10-day cum.
Jacob, final thoughts.
I thought it was fun. But yeah, script is a mess, but it has a lot of cool moments in it. Very Sam Raimi. I'll definitely go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That was
Yeah,
so good.
way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Quick
Northman
thought.
rocks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my
rocks.
final thoughts are that
Northman
the
rocks.
Northman is
Yeah.
awesome.
Holy
Can we,
shit.
Rick,
The North
can
is a
we
real
talk about
movie.
Northman
Yeah.
for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, can we talk about the Northman for 25
Yeah,
minutes?
so Everything Everywhere All at Once, amazing movie. Go
That
watch
scene
it.
where it's just the boys around a fire.
Yeah.
Barking like
Which
animals.
scene? How does he have to be more specific? It
That's
happens
my
like 4
favorite thing
times.
to do is go camping with the fellas.
I know.
And fucking behave as animals.
Yeah, throat sing and howl at the moon
Yeah.
like wolves.
It's the best.
And fart and burp with our shamans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did laugh at like Willem
Do you
Dafoe's
remember
intro
when
of
your
this
father
movie.
took you to
Yeah.
a cave? And
He said, we're gonna get stoned out of our gourd and howl at the moon.
Willem Dafoe's there.
Yeah.
He shows up in the movie by going, ooh, ooh.
Yep.
And I laughed.
Jokes
so-
about- makes a dick
about
joke.
his brother fucking his wife.
Yeah.
Both of them was so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Fucking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
All right.
Anyway,
That's our podcast, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. But we'll catch you later.